Well, hi everyone. I'm John Redland with a retro review of WWE In Your House 2 Electric Boogaloo, and this wasn't very good. They were still continuing the Diesel Sid feud. And yeah, that was shit. Sid was limited. Nash was not all that great, especially as champion, though. Bless him, for two big guys, they did what they could, but there's only so much that big men, especially that size and that green with, a few moves each can actually do. The problem is the best match on this show was a Jeff Jarrett match, and when the Jeff Jarrett match is the best match on your card, you have some issues. So anyway, this was In Your House 2, the Lumberjacks, because it's a Lumberjack main event, and oh boy, some of the Lumberjacks, oh dear, I'll get to that. So they're in Nashville. Twangy country music can go so to hell. I'm sorry if you like country music, that's great. I don't. I didn't like the country music here. I don't like a lot of twangy country music, mainly because I was raised on it and I rebel against it. But I do recognize there are some, good talents. Also, this was built around, Jeff Jarrett finally performing With My Baby Tonight, even though it was the roadie that sang that. But that's okay. It was a loss for the roadie, and the roadie knows that wins and losses don't matter. At least they don't matter to him. Fucking idiot. So the dark match was Skip versus Aldo Montoya. Yeah, cool. I think it's probably a good thing they skipped that. Also, one of the dark matches, after this pay-per-view was done, was a casket match between Undertaker and Kama. Yeah, I don't know why they decided to do that. They were doing smaller pay-per-views, basically, for the in-your-house format and, charging less money. But the problem is there were a few that were actually not bad, but boy, when we got to the October one, the October in your house, with Nash, Diesel rather, against British Bulldog, fucking hell. I will review that one, but we have Vincent Lawler in his best pedo cowboy gear. I'm not going to let that go because there's just something off about Jerry Lawler. So the roadie versus the 1-2-3 Kid. Well, at least the Kid was there to carry this because the roadie couldn't really wrestle a goddamn lick to save his life. He got by on charisma and with mic skills because he was not very good in the ring. I mean, for being, part of a great family, the Armstrongs, he was basically the Chris Von Erich. No, he was the Mike Von Erich. That's about how useless Rhodey was in the ring. Well, that's needlessly mean. I'm sure he served a purpose. It just wasn't a very good purpose. And Rhodey, Rhodey hit a pile driver off the ropes. 1, 2, 3. Jeff Jarrett, meanwhile, was preparing for his concert and ignoring what his Rhodey was doing in the ring, even though he got a victory on this pay-per-view. So great for him. Then we get the $1 Million Corporation talking about the main event, and the camera gets about 500% too close to Sid's face. We then get Men on a Mission versus Razor Ramon and Savio Vega. Messy because Men on a Mission wasn't very good. Mabel could not work at all. He was fucking rotten. And he was the king of the ring because it's no wonder that Vince McMahon lost $6 million apparently or more in 1995 because of decisions like making Mabel the king of the ring. And Mo was fine, but he wasn't, going to be anything more than just like a flunky on a team. And Savio was good, Razor was good, but Razor was starting to check out at this point. He would do some good shit after this, but he would leave by early 96 because he was going to go to WCW. So anyway, Savio got laid out. Mabel does the bump off the top that Flair usually does. And Mabel, by the way, is not as small as Flair. He's very, very large, and that was a little scary. I hope they reinforce the ring, because even with trying to prepare it and him trying to absorb the impact, that's a lot of mass to land in the ring like that. So belly-to-belly pins Razor after big old schmaz. Todd Pettengill is with the band doing some stuff. I like Todd Pettengill. This did not work because it wasn't very good comedy, but I like Todd Pettengill. He had some good energy on camera. Then Doc Hendricks is with Diesel's Lumberjacks. And Eric Watts was there. Why was Eric Watts there? Why was Eric Watts? I really have questions about that. Eric Watts made a few appearances during this show, including being part of the Lumberjack match. It's not that he was bad, he was just very vanilla. So, Double J, Jeff Jarrett performance, he stalls forever, and then it's a Milli Vanilli type performance because the roadie was the one doing the singing here. Cool, whatever, cool, that's fine, it is what it is. This went on forever as well. This did not need to be included. Because also Jeff Jarrett is going to be leaving soon after this to go to WCW. to get to get a pretty big contract. And then he was going to come back to WWE for a couple years and then go to WCW to get a bigger contract. He bounced around a lot, mainly because he was a perennial mid-carder. Henry O. Godwin versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Whoever thought this was a good idea to put this on pay-per-view should have been slapped. And I like Bam Bam, and Henry O. Godwin wasn't bad in the ring, but these characters, no. At this point, no. Not a good idea. This was not a good idea at all. Bam Bam misses a diving headbutt. Godwin tries to do a knee drop off the ropes and clearly jams his knee. I mean, he really does. Like, it did not work. It was not a good idea. That much mass landing. A lot of mass landing on the mat here. And he legit hurt himself, you could tell, because he was limping around. But he's like screaming, and Bam Bam has to roll him up quickly to get the finish done. And then Godwin's going to slop him, but his leg is like, it's all bent and everything. He can't really move it. So it's like, what the fuck's he going to do? Somebody's going to have to practically lay down in front of him so he can slop him because he can't get over to them. So then we get Jeff Jarrett with the Roadie versus Shawn Michaels Intercontinental Championship match. And this was the best match on the show. It's unfortunate that the Roadie had to be involved, because I'm sorry, but it's not about what you know, it's about who you know when it comes to the Roadie. Because based on skill alone, he had no business being in wrestling past 2001. I mean, I'm sorry, he just had no goddamn business being in wrestling. He was pretty fucking rotten. And he kept interfering because it was a way, to get more anger towards Jeff Jarrett so Shawn could make the eventual comeback. And we have a ref bump, and then we get an accidental trip from the Roadie because the Roadie's a goddamn idiot. They can't wrestle, I haven't mentioned that. And Sweet Chin Music 1, 2, 3. And then apparently, I guess, we get a dissension a little bit later between them. Locker room celebration because Shawn won. And for some reason, Eric Watts is still there. God damn it. By the way, Doc Hendricks, Michael Hayes, in a caricature of his caricature. He was yelling and everything about how the Roadie and Jeff Jarrett were pushing each other and yelling at each other. He sounded like he was coked out of his goddamn mind. Go back and watch this right after Shawn is done celebrating, after they cut away from that. Doc literally sounds like he did about 5 lines of coke and then did this. It's absolutely baffling. Owen Hart and Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji versus the Allied Powers, the Allied HGH Powers, Lex Luger and the British Bulldog. Lawler at one point said about the Spanish announcers, I'd rather ring his Taco Bell. I see that Lawler's racism has always been paramount. There were times where his humor actually worked, but a lot of his commentary, his stuff about Stu and Helen Hart and the Hart family was actually pretty goddamn good. I like that stuff. That was pretty funny. But everything else, no. Lawler, really, his commentary wasn't that good back then and kind of has really, really aged badly. But anyway, Owen was upset because at one point Yokozuna, because he was so obese at this point, fell in the corner, and Owen had his foot, kind of like in the corner and everything because he was getting ready to tag, and Yoko landed on Owen's foot. Owen was all upset. And a little bit later, Bulldog and Luger, with the power of friendship, managed to lift Yokozuna, so therefore they're going to call their personas. It's a Japanese RPG, ladies and gentlemen. To be fair, both were built like Japanese RPG characters, but I digress. Owen then ends up hitting Lex after Lex had Yoko topped, and then a leg drop by Yokozuna 1, 2, 3, so there we go with that. So, Diesel versus Sid, Lumberjack match for the WWE title. Mantar was one of the Lumberjacks, therefore I hate this pay-per-view, and I hate the gimmick, I hate the guy. Tatanka, Bam Bam Bigelow, Henry O. Godwin, Men on a Mission, Duke the Dumpster Droese, Razor, Ramon Kidd, Fatu when he was doing the weird motivational thing, the weird rap thing that he was doing when it was like, come on everybody, let's get up and get ready. And the Nazi Blues Brothers, the Blue Brothers that is. Remember Jacob and Eli Blue became the Harris Brothers. They got Nazi tattoos. Those are fucking idiots. Fucking goddamn pieces of shit. And Eric Watts. Great. More Eric Watts. Just what this pay-per-view needs. It wasn't good. Nash dives, tears his quad. No, Nash just dived, and it was very scary seeing a man who was injury prone because of, sometimes the injury bug bites, it doesn't let go. He did that. Mabel attacked Nash. Shawn attacked Sid, and then it was the lamest big boot finish where Nash could have hit his big boot on somebody in the first row and somehow hit Sid with more force than he did there. He would completely missed Sid by 50 feet and somehow managed to hit him more. This was bad. My God, he whiffed it like crazy. 1, 2, 3. That's it. This wasn't a good pay-per-view, so that's pretty much it right there. That's going to be your lot there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.